Does your toddler freeze or suddenly go silent around other kids? Most parents mistake these behaviors for shyness, but they're often early signs of social anxiety in toddlers, and catching them early can change everything. In this video, you'll learn the 5 subtle signs of toddler social anxiety that almost every parent overlooks. These aren't the big dramatic meltdowns or obvious fears. These are the quiet behaviors: freezing, scanning, silence, clinginess that look like personality traits but are actually your child's nervous system signaling distress. Let me start by asking you something. Have you ever noticed your normally chatty, energetic toddler suddenly go quiet when other children are around? Or maybe they cling to your leg at playgroups, refuse to join circle time at preschool, or have massive meltdowns before social events? If you're nodding your head right now, you need to hear this, because what you're seeing might not be typical toddler behavior, or just a phase they'll grow out of. Social anxiety in toddlers is real. It's more common than most parents realize, and the early signs are incredibly subtle. Most parents miss them entirely because they look like normal toddler behaviors: shyness, cautiousness, preference for familiar people. But when you understand what's actually happening in your child's nervous system, these behaviors take on completely different meaning. And here's why this matters so much. Early intervention makes an enormous difference. Toddlers' brains are incredibly plastic, meaning they're still forming the neural pathways that will shape how they respond to social situations for the rest of their lives. When we catch social anxiety early and respond appropriately, we can actually help rewire those pathways before they become deeply ingrained patterns. But when we miss the signs, when we dismiss the behaviors as shyness, when we force them into social situations they're not ready for, when we accidentally reinforce their avoidance, we can make the anxiety worse and set them up for years of social struggles. Before we dive into the specific signs, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're covering critical early childhood mental health information that could genuinely change your child's trajectory, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So let's talk about what social anxiety actually is in toddlers, because it's different from the social anxiety we see in older children and adults. Toddlers can't articulate, "I'm worried people will judge me," or "I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing." Their anxiety manifests physically and behaviorally before they have the cognitive capacity to understand or explain what they're feeling. Social anxiety in toddlers is essentially an overactive threat response to social situations. Their nervous system perceives other people, especially unfamiliar people or groups of people, as potential threats. This triggers their fight-flight-freeze response, flooding their little bodies with stress hormones and shutting down the parts of their brain responsible for social engagement, language, and flexible thinking. From the outside, this can look like lots of things: shyness, stubbornness, defiance, clinginess, sensory sensitivity. That's why it's so commonly missed. Parents and even pediatricians often attribute these behaviors to temperament or developmental stages rather than recognizing them as anxiety symptoms. But here's the key difference. Typical shyness or caution improves with gentle, repeated exposure. A typically shy toddler might hang back initially, but gradually warm up and engage. A toddler with social anxiety doesn't warm up. They escalate or shut down, and repeated exposure without proper support makes it worse, not better. So let's dive into the 5 subtle signs of social anxiety in toddlers that most parents completely miss. Understanding these signs is the first step toward helping your child feel safe and building their confidence in social situations. The first subtle sign is behavioral freezing or going silent in social settings. This is different from a child who's just observing before joining in. When you arrive at a playgroup or family gathering, your child suddenly becomes very still, stops talking, stops making eye contact, and seems to physically shut down. They might have been chattering away in the car, but the moment you walk into a room with other people, they go completely silent. Here's what's happening. Their nervous system has detected a threat, the social situation, and has triggered a freeze response. This is one of the 3 survival responses: fight, flight, or freeze. For many anxious toddlers, especially those with more cautious temperaments, freeze is their default response to perceived danger. From a neurological perspective, their amygdala, the brain's alarm system, has taken over, and blood flow has moved away from the prefrontal cortex where language and social skills live. That's why they literally cannot talk or engage in that moment, even if you encourage them to. It's not defiance or shyness. It's a physiological response they cannot control. Parents often misinterpret this as their child being rude, shy, or stubborn. Say hello to grandma. Why won't you answer? Use your words. But pushing them to perform socially when they're in freeze mode actually reinforces the association between social situations and threat, making the anxiety worse over time. The second subtle sign is intense clinginess or refusal to separate from the parent, specifically in social contexts. Now, all toddlers go through clingy phases. That's developmentally normal. But social anxiety clinginess is different. It's specifically triggered by the presence of other people and is accompanied by physical signs of distress. Watch for this pattern. Your child is fine playing independently at home. They separate easily for familiar caregivers in familiar settings. But the moment you're in a social situation, playgroup, birthday party, family gathering, they become physically attached to you. They won't let you set them down. They're gripping your clothes. They escalate if you try to step away, even for a moment. This isn't manipulation or separation anxiety in the typical sense. It's social-specific anxiety. You, the parent, represent safety in an environment their nervous system has flagged as dangerous. You're literally their security blanket, their safe base in what feels like threatening territory. Here's what many parents don't realize. Their child isn't refusing to play with other kids because they don't want to or because they're antisocial. They desperately want to join in. Watch their eyes. They're often watching the other children intently, but their nervous system won't let them. The anxiety is stronger than their desire to play. When parents understand this, it completely changes how they respond. Instead of "go play with the other kids, you'll have fun," which feels like being pushed toward danger, they can say, "I can see there are lots of kids here. That feels like a lot right now. You can stay close to me until you feel ready." The third subtle sign is excessive scanning and hypervigilance in social environments. This one is really subtle, and most parents never notice it. Your toddler's eyes are constantly moving, watching everyone and everything in the environment. They're scanning faces, tracking movements, monitoring who's coming and going. They seem unable to relax or focus on playing because they're in constant surveillance mode. This is their threat detection system working overtime. Their brain is trying to predict and prepare for any potential threat in the environment. They're watching other children to see if anyone might approach them. They're monitoring adults to see if anyone might talk to them or expect them to perform. They're tracking all movement because movement could signal danger. You might notice they startle easily in these environments. A child running past them, someone laughing loudly, a door opening. These normal social environment sounds and movements trigger a startle response because they're already on high alert. Parents often describe these children as very observant or always watching everything. And yes, that's true. But the underlying driver is anxiety, not curiosity. A curious child observes and then engages. An anxious child observes to monitor threats and stays in observation mode because engagement feels too risky. The fourth subtle sign is physical complaints or behaviors right before or during social events. Your toddler suddenly says their tummy hurts before preschool. They complain they're tired right when you arrive at a play date. They need to use the bathroom constantly at birthday parties, or they say they're hungry, even though they just ate. These aren't random. These are somatic manifestations of anxiety. Here's what's happening. Anxiety creates very real physical sensations in the body. When your toddler's nervous system is in threat mode, stress hormones flood their system, which can cause actual stomach discomfort, fatigue, changes in appetite, and frequent urination. Their complaints are real. They genuinely do feel sick, tired, or uncomfortable. They're just not connecting those feelings to anxiety because they don't have the cognitive capacity to make that connection yet. Watch for patterns. If your child frequently complains of physical issues, specifically around social situations, but is fine at home, you're likely seeing anxiety express itself through the body. Many parents miss this entirely because they take the complaints at face value. They must not be feeling well today. Let's skip the play date. Over time, this can accidentally reinforce avoidance. Teaching the child that physical complaints are an effective way to escape anxiety-provoking situations. You might also notice self-soothing behaviors that increase in social settings. Thumb sucking they'd previously outgrown, hair twirling, skin picking, rocking, or seeking their comfort object more intensely. These are regulatory behaviors. Your child is trying to calm their overwhelmed nervous system using whatever tools they have available. The response here isn't to dismiss their complaints or force them through discomfort, but to recognize what's driving the behavior and provide appropriate support. Your tummy hurts because there are lots of new people here, and that feels scary. Your body is trying to keep you safe. Let's take some deep breaths together, and we'll take it slow. The fifth subtle sign, and this is the one that surprises parents most, is apparent defiance or explosive meltdowns specifically triggered by social demands. Your generally cooperative toddler suddenly becomes rigid and oppositional when you're trying to leave for a social event. Getting them dressed to go to preschool is a battle. Transitions to playdates involve massive tantrums. Once at social events, they might have disproportionate reactions to small things. Another child looking at them, someone asking them a question, being invited to join an activity. This looks like behavior problems. Parents often think their child is being difficult, stubborn, or manipulative. But what's actually happening is that the demand to enter or engage in a social situation is triggering their fight response. While some anxious children freeze, others fight. They resist, they melt down, they try to escape through any means available. The meltdowns are particularly confusing because they often seem to come out of nowhere or be about something trivial. But if you track when they happen, you'll notice they cluster around social transitions or social demands. The triggering event isn't the shoes you're trying to put on them. It's that those shoes mean you're going to the place with all the people where their nervous system goes into alarm mode. These children are often misdiagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder or labeled as having behavioral problems when the root cause is actually anxiety. And when parents and teachers respond with behavior management strategies, consequences, rewards, timeouts, it doesn't work because you're not addressing the underlying nervous system dysregulation. Understanding that the behavior is driven by anxiety changes everything. Instead of, stop throwing a tantrum, we're going to this birthday party, whether you like it or not. You might say, I can see your body is telling you this party feels scary. I'm going to stay right with you. We can leave if it's too much. You're safe. Now let's talk about what all of these signs have in common, because understanding the underlying mechanism is crucial for how you respond. All of these behaviors, the freezing, the clinginess, the hypervigilance, the physical complaints, the meltdowns, are driven by an overactive threat detection system. Your toddler's amygdala, their brain's alarm system, is perceiving social situations as dangerous and triggering survival responses. This isn't a conscious choice. They're not being difficult on purpose. Their nervous system is genuinely perceiving threat and responding accordingly, exactly as it's designed to do. The problem is that the threat detection system is miscalibrated. It's flagging safe situations as dangerous. And here's the critical part. You cannot logic a toddler out of this. You cannot force them to be brave. And you cannot make them just get over it through repeated exposure alone. In fact, pushing them into situations they're not ready for can sensitize the nervous system further, making the anxiety worse over time. So what do you do instead? How do you help your toddler when you recognize these signs of social anxiety? This is where most parents get stuck, because our instincts and what society tells us to do are often exactly wrong. Let me give you the framework that actually works, based on what we know about nervous system regulation and childhood anxiety. First, validate and co-regulate before you try to encourage engagement. When your toddler is showing signs of social anxiety, freezing, clinging, scanning, complaining, or melting down, their nervous system is in threat mode. Your first job is not to push them toward the feared situation. Your first job is to help their nervous system come back to a state of safety. Get down on their level, make your voice soft and calm, and acknowledge what they're experiencing. I can see there are lots of people here. Your body is telling you this feels like too much right now. I'm right here with you. You're safe. You're using your calm nervous system to help regulate their dysregulated one. This is called co-regulation, and it's the foundation of how toddlers learn to eventually regulate themselves. They can't calm their own nervous system yet. They need to borrow your calm. When you stay regulated, present, and non-demanding, you're sending safety signals to their nervous system that gradually help it come out of threat mode. What doesn't work is minimizing their experience. There's nothing to be scared of or pushing them to engage. Just go say hi, it's not that hard. Both of these responses communicate that you don't understand what they're experiencing, which actually increases their distress and their need to cling to you or avoid the situation. Second, respect their need for time and proximity. If your toddler needs to stay close to you at social events, let them. If they need to observe from the sidelines for 20 minutes or the entire event, that's okay. Observation is actually their way of slowly acclimating to the environment. They're gathering information, assessing safety, and gradually allowing their nervous system to settle. Many children with social anxiety eventually do engage, but only after they've had sufficient time to feel safe. When you force or rush them, you interrupt this natural process of acclimatization. But when you allow them to stay close and take their time, you often see them gradually venture out on their own terms once they feel ready. If your toddler is unable to attend preschool or playgroups at all, if they're having daily meltdowns about social situations, if they're showing anxiety in almost all interactions outside the immediate family, or if you're finding yourself avoiding social situations entirely because of their reactions, these are signs that professional support would be helpful. Early intervention for childhood anxiety is incredibly effective. A child psychologist who specializes in early childhood can teach you specific strategies for helping your child's nervous system feel safer, can work directly with your toddler using play-based approaches, and can help you distinguish between temperament variations that just need accommodation versus anxiety that needs active treatment. Many parents hesitate to seek help for toddlers, thinking they're too young for therapy or that it's premature to worry. But the research is clear. Anxiety that's addressed early responds much better than anxiety that's allowed to become entrenched. You're not overreacting by seeking support. You're being proactive. Now let me give you some specific strategies you can implement starting today to help your socially anxious toddler feel safer and gradually build their confidence in social situations. First, practice social situations in low-stakes ways. Before expecting your toddler to navigate a crowded playgroup, help them build social skills and comfort in easier contexts. Invite one familiar peer over for a playdate in your home where your child feels safe. Go to the playground during off hours when there are fewer children. Visit family members one-on-one rather than at large gatherings. These lower-intensity social experiences allow your child to practice social interaction without overwhelming their nervous system. As they become more comfortable, you can gradually increase the intensity. 2 children instead of 1. A playground during busier times. Small family gatherings before large ones. This gradual exposure, paired with support and the ability to retreat when needed, helps build positive associations with social situations. Second, use play and books to explore social scenarios. Toddlers process their experiences through play. Provide dolls or action figures and act out social situations. Going to a birthday party, playing at the park, meeting new friends. Let your child lead the play and watch how they process these scenarios. You can gently introduce coping strategies through the play. Oh, that doll feels nervous about all the people at the party. What could help them feel better? Read books about characters who feel nervous in social situations and overcome their fears. This helps your child understand they're not alone in these feelings and gives them language for what they're experiencing. Books like Wemberly Worried or The Shy Little Kitten can be great conversation starters. Third, teach simple nervous system regulation tools appropriate for toddlers. Your child's anxiety is driven by nervous system dysregulation, so giving them tools to regulate is incredibly empowering. Teach them deep breathing through playful exercises. Let's blow out the birthday candles, deep breaths. Or let's smell the flowers and blow out the candles. Breathe in through nose, out through mouth. Practice progressive muscle relaxation. Let's squeeze our bodies tight like we're lemons being juiced, then let go and be soft like jelly. Do this at calm times so it becomes a familiar tool they can use when anxious. Create a calming routine they can use when feeling overwhelmed, holding a special comfort object, counting to 5, doing their special breathing, squeezing your hand 3 times. Practice this routine regularly so when they need it in social situations, it's already familiar and accessible. Fourth, model healthy social behavior and regulate your own social anxiety. If you have social anxiety yourself, your toddler is picking up on it. They're watching how you navigate social situations and they're reading your nervous system signals. If you're anxious about social events, they will be too. Not because you're explicitly teaching them to be anxious, but because nervous system states are contagious. This doesn't mean you need to be perfectly socially confident. That's unrealistic. But it does mean working on your own social comfort and being mindful of the messages you're sending. If you're anxious about a social event, manage your anxiety before and during rather than letting it spill onto your child. And model what healthy social engagement looks like. Let them see you greeting people warmly, engaging in conversation, handling awkward moments with grace. Narrate what you're doing. I'm going to say hello to that person, even though I don't know them well. Sometimes saying hi to new people feels a little nervous, but usually it turns out nice. Fifth, celebrate small victories and focus on progress, not perfection. If your toddler who usually won't make eye contact with others at playgroup today looked at another child, even briefly, that's worth acknowledging. I noticed you looked at Emma today. That was brave. If they let go of your hand for 30 seconds to touch a toy while other children were nearby, progress. If they said goodbye to the teacher, even in a whisper, celebrate it. When you notice and affirm these small steps forward, you're helping your child recognize their own growing capacity. You're building their confidence incrementally, and you're communicating that you see their effort, not just outcomes. Avoid comparisons to other children or to some imagined ideal. Look how easily that child joined the group is not helpful. Your child's pace is their pace, and pushing them to move faster than they're ready for will backfire. Let me address some common mistakes parents make when they recognize social anxiety in their toddler, because understanding what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do. These mistakes are almost always well-intentioned. Parents are trying to help, but they accidentally reinforce the anxiety instead of reducing it. The first mistake is forcing social interactions or using exposure therapy without proper support. Many parents, and even some professionals, believe that anxiety is overcome simply by facing fears repeatedly. Just throw them in the deep end and they'll figure it out. So they force their toddler to attend every social event, refuse to let them leave early, push them to interact with other children, all with the belief that exposure will cure the anxiety. But here's what the research actually shows. Exposure without support and without the person feeling safe can actually sensitize the nervous system and make anxiety worse. This is called flooding. And while it might occasionally work with older children who have cognitive coping skills, it's traumatic for toddlers who lack those resources. Effective exposure is gradual, controlled, paired with support, and allows the person to retreat when overwhelmed. It's not sink or swim, it's dipping toes in while holding a trusted hand, with the option to step back out anytime it becomes too much. The second mistake is over-accommodating to the point where the child never experiences any social situations at all. This is the opposite extreme. The parent recognizes their child's anxiety and becomes so protective that they avoid all social situations, never push gently toward growth, and essentially allow the anxiety to completely dictate the family's life. While it's crucial to respect your child's limits, it's also important to gently encourage growth. The sweet spot is supporting them through manageable challenges, not eliminating all challenges. If you never attend social events, your child never has the opportunity to learn that they can handle them with support. And you're inadvertently communicating that the anxiety is right. These situations are dangerous and must be avoided. The key is finding the balance, respecting limits while gently expanding the comfort zone, providing support while building capability, accommodating when necessary while encouraging growth when possible. The third mistake is showing visible frustration, disappointment, or anxiety about your child's social anxiety. When you sigh heavily because your child won't join the other kids, when you apologize to other parents for your child's shyness, when you talk about your concerns in front of your child, when your body language broadcasts your worry, your child absorbs all of this. They learn that their anxiety is a problem that disappoints you. They feel shame about something they can't control. They see your anxiety about their anxiety, which gives them another thing to worry about. And the pressure to perform socially for your sake actually increases their anxiety. Your child needs you to be calm and accepting. They need to know that their pace is okay with you, that you're not ashamed of them, that you believe they'll be okay even if right now is hard. This doesn't mean you're not working on helping them. It means you're doing that work privately, with professionals if needed, while maintaining a calm, confident presence with your child. The fourth mistake is bribing or rewarding them for social behavior without addressing the underlying anxiety. If you go play with those kids for 5 minutes, we'll get ice cream after. This teaches children to suppress or perform through their anxiety for external rewards, rather than learning to actually regulate their nervous system and build genuine comfort. It can also backfire because the promised reward communicates that the thing you're asking them to do is unpleasant. Why else would you need to bribe them? And when the anxiety is strong enough, no reward is motivating enough to overcome the nervous system's threat response. Instead of bribes, focus on intrinsic motivation and capability building. After a social situation where your child pushed through discomfort, reflect on how they did it. Doubt was hard, and you did it. You stayed even when you felt nervous. You're learning that you can handle hard things. You're building their sense of competence, not dependence on external rewards. The fifth mistake is labeling your child as shy or anxious in their presence or to others when they can hear. Labels become identities, especially for young children who are still forming their sense of self. When adults repeatedly say, "Oh, she's just shy," or "he's always been anxious," the child internalizes that as a fixed trait rather than a current challenge they're working through. Instead, describe the behavior without labeling the child. He's taking his time to feel comfortable rather than he's shy. She needs a few minutes to warm up rather than she has social anxiety. You're acknowledging the current reality without cementing it as their permanent identity. Now let's talk about what this looks like long-term, because I want you to have hope and realistic expectations. What happens to toddlers who show early signs of social anxiety? With appropriate support, most develop completely typical social functioning by school age. They may always be more cautious or need more time to warm up in new situations. But they learn to manage their nervous system responses and engage in age-appropriate social activities. Some children, particularly those with more intense anxiety or those who don't receive appropriate early support, continue to struggle with social anxiety into childhood and beyond. But even for these children, early intervention significantly improves outcomes. They learn coping skills, they develop better nervous system regulation, and they have better quality of life than they would have without support. The key protective factors are responsive parenting that validates their experience while gently encouraging growth, gradual exposure to social situations with support, teaching regulation skills, and professional intervention when needed. Your goal is not to eliminate all anxiety. Some anxiety is normal and even protective. Your goal is to help your child develop the skills to manage anxiety so it doesn't control their life. You want them to learn that yes, social situations can feel uncomfortable, and they have the tools to handle that discomfort and still participate in life. Here's your action plan starting today. First, observe your child in social situations over the next week. Watch specifically for the 5 signs we discussed: freezing, clinginess, hypervigilance, physical complaints, and meltdowns. Track when they occur, how intense they are, and how your child recovers. This gives you baseline data about what you're working with. Second, evaluate your own responses. Are you pushing too hard, over-accommodating, showing frustration or anxiety? Be honest with yourself about how your reactions might be contributing to the cycle. Remember, this isn't about blame, it's about awareness so you can make changes. Third, implement the co-regulation approach. The next time your child shows signs of social anxiety, practice the validate and regulate response we discussed. Get calm yourself first. Acknowledge their experience without minimizing it. Stay present and non-demanding, and give them time and space to settle while remaining available. Fourth, start building in low-stakes social practice. Plan one manageable social experience this week, maybe inviting one familiar child over, visiting a quiet playground, or having a brief video call with a grandparent. The goal is not to push them to perform, but to create a positive social experience where they feel supported. Fifth, if you're seeing significant impairment or intense distress, reach out to your pediatrician about a referral to a child psychologist or therapist who specializes in early childhood anxiety. Don't wait to see if they'll outgrow it. Early intervention is so much more effective than trying to address entrenched patterns later. Remember, your toddler with social anxiety is not broken, defective, or doomed to a lifetime of social struggles. They have a more sensitive nervous system that needs more support to feel safe in social situations. With your help, your patience, your understanding, your calm presence, they can learn to navigate their anxiety and develop the social confidence they need to thrive. The signs you've learned about today are your early warning system. You're now equipped to recognize when your child is struggling, understand what's driving their behavior, and respond in ways that help rather than hurt. That awareness and those tools can genuinely change the trajectory of your child's social and emotional development. Your child needs you to see past the surface behaviors, the clinginess, the silence, the tears, and understand the frightened nervous system underneath. They need you to be their safe haven while they slowly build the courage to venture out into the social world. And they need you to believe that they can do this, even when it's hard, even when progress is slow, even when other children seem to do it so much more easily. You've got this. And more importantly, your child has you, and that makes all the difference.